All right, guys, we're getting things rocking and rolling here. Starting on time here. Well done, Judah Wickower. Well done, team. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. Did you have a good Memorial Day, J-Dubs? Are you a sit at the pool kind of guy?
Apparently not, because I still need to get a key to the pool in my neighborhood.
Your community pool?
Yeah.
Get the pool, get the key. Well, do you tan or do you burn?
It depends. I usually, if I'm careful, I mostly tan, but not very deeply.
Is that a metaphor for life?
Could be.
Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. You're checking the feeds over there, J-Dubs?
Yeah.
All right. I want to make sure I see it live on the I Love Seville Facebook page. Excellent. I see it live on my personal Facebook page. I see it live on the I Love Seville group. That's excellent. I'm going to check I Love Seville food, my friend. You have the Market Street cam going?
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. There's a poor bird that has jumped out of its nest here on Market Street. We have a massive tree. What kind of tree is that outside of our studio?
It's some kind of oak.
We have some kind of oak outside our studio, and there's a nest with a mama bird and a baby bird. And you don't have to showcase the bird if you don't want to. The headlines to me and the photos of Phil Wendell sprawling estate would be A+ if you can get those. But a bird has jumped out of some kind of oak in front of our studio, and the mama bird and the daddy bird are watching the baby bird as it's fledgling.
Yep.
Outside our studio, learning to walk and hop and trying to spread its wings. And I'm very worried about this bird.
I know.
You're surprised that I'm worried by the bird?
No, I think it's your fatherly instinct taking over.
I think that's what it is too. Do you think I would have been as worried about the bird prior to the birth of our sons?
Definitely not.
Said with disdain.
That was not disdain.
Okay. Quipped with coldness. Quipped with coldness, is that fair?
Said with
I mean, you know me as well as most people here. Wife knows me the best. You may know me the second best.
He's doing fine out there.
I'm worried about the baby bird. What kind of bird is that?
That's a blue jay.
That's a blue jay?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's a blue jay?
Did you see the mom?
I did not see the mom. Are you sure that's a blue jay?
Yeah.
Baby blue jay. I hope baby blue jay can make it back to its nest or has the protection of mommy and daddy. Oh!
There, see?
That is a blue jay. There's the mom checking on baby blue jay. Is that in the Market Street cam?
I don't think they have that.
That's a beautiful mama blue jay out there. She's feeding baby blue jay food. I really hope you're not feeding him the butt from that cigarette that was left out on the courtyard of the I Love Seville studio. Houseless Harry left a cigarette butt outside our studio, and Mama Blue Jay is trying to feed baby Blue Jay Houseless Harry's cigarette butt. That's not going to work for baby Blue Jay. Baby Blue Jay's back. Doesn't want that cigarette butt. Oh, she realizes it's a cigarette butt, thank goodness. Give him some worms. Give him some insects.
Sure, the mom is wiser than
Give baby Blue Jay something of nourishment, Mama Blue Jay, not Houseless Harry's cigarette butt. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines, guys. The UVA Law School offered two faculty from the law school, offered some commentary on upzoning in Charlottesville. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a handful of people that were first in this community discussing the impacts of upzoning. Some of us said that upzoning would have very little impact. In fact, it could have a backfiring impact on the community. And now you got law school professors and law school librarians offering commentary of the like. We'll talk about that on today's program. Phil Wendell, the founder of ACAC, Phil Wendell, the founder of World Strides. He's got a sprawling estate for sale. It's been for sale for some period of time. We'll offer some positive attention for Mr. Wendell, a friend of the program's estate. Maybe we can get him some attention that helps move his 11,605 square foot mansion on 89 acres with 7 bedrooms and 9.5 bathrooms, an asking price of $5,200,000 with an estimated monthly mortgage payment of $33,000 and change. The tax nut, ladies and gentlemen, just the taxes alone on this property, $46,000 and counting. A lot to cover on today's program. Virginia Baseball is hosting a regional. The 11th time in Brian O'Connor's 21 seasons on the job, he has hosted a regional in Charlottesville. Good Lord, that is amazing. A lot I want to cover on today's program. Judah Wickhauer is going to be sending me the headlines. Let me know when I get those, J-Dubs.
I can tell you I sent them. I don't know when you'll get
Oh,
them.
you sent them. There's a nursing student who has his future in jeopardy. I mean, I'm ready for the 27 arrested to be completely vindicated and for the story to be put behind us and for
Right.
us as a community and school to learn from what happened and never do it again.
No doubt.
That's where I want to go with this story. The Richmond Convention Center is often empty. We'll explain how empty this convention center often sits. I want to highlight Coco Rochou. You know where that's located, Judah?
No, I don't.
You put the headlines in. It's in the headlines.
I'm not looking at the headlines.
It's in Preston
trying to
Plaza.
I'm trying to get photos for your.
Okay, all right, I'm
thing.
sorry. I apologize. Coco Rochou, ladies and gentlemen, in Preston Plaza is a must-try. A lot we're going to cover on this program, including Tandem Friends expanding with some Shawnee Tubbs coverage. Even Sean Tubbs writes this in his newsletter. He says this: a phenomenon to keep tracking across Virginia is the growth in private school enrollment and how that might change public schools. So much to cover on the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille show. J-Dubs, I'm ready to rock and roll if you are, J-Dubs. I just want that baby bird who is knocking on our studio door, that baby blue jay, just to have a wonderful life. A wonderful life. He's flapping its wings. He's knocking on our door. Poor guy. All right, let's rock and roll when you're ready, Judah. Baby blue jay. Please be with that baby blue jay.
Quiet on the set.
Quiet on the set. Judah, your voice gets deeper with the quiet on the set call to action.
Quiet on the set.
Quiet on the set. It's the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille show. Thank you kindly for joining us. I hope the Memorial Day weekend treated you well. A 3-day weekend that officially kicks off pool season in the Central Virginia region. My family and I were at the pool 2 days this past weekend, enjoying times that I find special. Watching our 6-year-old learn how to swim even more, becoming a stronger swimmer. Our 18-month-old trying to do whatever his big brother can do. The second or third child, if you have fourth child has such an advantage. I mean, the second child learns so quickly from the first child. I've seen it in our house with speaking, with walking, with running, with throwing, trying to swim yesterday. The oldest, I'm an oldest child. The trailblazer, the parents of an oldest child, often try to figure out things themselves. And whether we're helicopter parents, or whether we're hands-off parents, or whether we're parents that utilize early education facilities, preschools and daycares, or whether we're parents that keep our eldest children at home, the firstborn often is learning about life with their moms and dads, their moms and moms, their dads and dads. And that could be a trial and error process. And I've seen it firsthand with our oldest son And as our second son hit 18 months old over the weekend, my wife and I reflected and we realized that we were completely different people in the 6 years and change, not 6 years, but 4.5 that separate our boys. And things are easier. We know more what to expect. We're less scared. We're less helicopter. There goes the mayor, former Mayor Lloyd Snook on the Market Street cam over there. And I don't know. Just makes me happy being a dad. Makes me happy watching our 18-month-old splash in the shallow end of a pool, and it makes me happy watching our 6-year-old navigate pool slides and lazy rivers and currents within pools and eating hot dogs on the side of pool decks. All right, today's program, there's a lot to cover on the show. We're going to talk about a law school professor and a law school librarian offering their commentary on upzoning. Now a law school professor by the name of Rich Schrager and UVA's law librarian, one of them, Sarah New, revealed that upzoning or allowing more multifamily home development may not lead to more housing after all. We've been saying this all along, ladies and gentlemen. We'll unpack what the law school had to say over the weekend on a story published on law.virginia.edu. Published this one. I reached out to Professor Richard Schrager, the Walter L. Brown Professor of Law. He co-directs the program in law, communities, and the environment, and is the author of the book, City Power, Urban Governance in Global Age. He was kind enough to respond to my email. He sent me a response. I'm going to call it up now. This morning at 9:43 a.m., he says, "Hi, Jerry. Thanks for reaching out. I invited the professor to be a guest on the show. Professor Schrager says, I am not doing active media on this topic at this time, but thanks for the offer. He says, best of luck with your program, and he signs it Richard Schrager from UVA School of Law. He is being lambasted, Rich and the librarian Sarah New, by the urbanist lobbyist group Livable Charlottesville. He also is being lambasted on Twitter by City Planning Commissioner Rory Stolzenberg. I want to unpack this story for you on today, the Tuesday edition of the show. Also on the program, we're going to talk about a nursing student that was delivering food to the UVA protest on grounds as an employee or subcontractor of DoorDash. This UVA nursing student who, Judah, is studying at Piedmont, Virginia Community College?
Yeah, it's basically that. He's a transfer from another country. He's basically a refugee, and is working towards his nursing degree, and I believe.
He's trying to pay his way through PVCC, getting his nursing degree. He's delivering food for DoorDash, has the unlucky delivery order of taking food to the protesters. Was it the first Saturday in May? A protest that's made national news. As he's delivering food to the protesters, he sees some buddies who are protesting, decides to hang around, and is one of the 27 people arrested. Of the 27 people arrested, most have had their no trespassing orders rescinded, where they can now step foot on grounds again. This particular individual has not, and it could impact his professional future as a nurse. We'll talk about this today. The Daily Progress has some coverage on it. It's a very long piece. It's frankly, a sad piece, demoralizing piece. You're left asking questions. What is UVA Police Chief Tim Longo doing not rescinding the no trespass order? We'll tell you why we have these takes, why we have our perspective on this topic in a matter of moments. I also want to highlight on today's show a very troubling story about the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. During COVID, was it about 140-some thousand, Judah, guests of the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank? Put the time frame into perspective.
Hold on, let me switch over. All right, so through the pandemic, the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank was seeing peak of the pandemic about 146,000 guests visits per month to the food bank.
That's humongous. There's 300,000 people in the Central Virginia community. 146,000 guests per month during the peak of the pandemic at the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. And how about now?
Now we are up to 172,000 monthly guests.
172,000, ladies and gentlemen.
They point out that the region's population that they cover is 1.6 million.
Okay, I stand corrected. I said 300,000 person area for Central Virginia, so this is a much larger area.
Yeah. This is Blue Ridge, so I don't know.
So over 10% of their footprint.
Yeah.
Over 10% of their footprint, ladies and gentlemen, going to the food bank with food insecurities.
And that's up from the previous overall figure of 1 in 12.
Another justification that now is today the most challenging time in many generations for Americans when it comes to cost of living, feeding their families, paying their bills, and just living day to day. We'll talk about that on today's show. I want to show some photos of Phil Wendell's sprawling estate. It's in Benavar. It's been for sale for some period of time. He's had various price point reductions and various listing agents and new prices. Today, the asking price is $5,200,000. This house is massive. Do you have a couple of photos you can show?
Give me a minute.
11,605 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms, on 88.86 acres in the back of Benavar. This is not just a mansion, this is an estate. He's got a swimming pool, he's got multiple kitchens, he's got a pickleball court. It is one of the largest houses you will find in Central Virginia, period. Phil Wendell, of course, the founder of ACAC, the Tony and Chic gym chain that is expanding. He, of course, was the one-time founder, or was the founder of World Strides, made a lot of money with World Strides, and now is an evangelist of Central Virginia. He's got courtside seats at basketball games. He's often sitting next to a friend of the program, Ralph Sampson. He is seen around downtown Charlottesville, around our studio. We'll see if we can reach out to Mr. Wendell to get him on the program. This house is quintessential Charlottesville Georgian. We'll showcase it on today's program. I also want to talk about Coco Rochou, the bakery in Preston Plaza. If you have not been to Coco Rochou, you're missing a fantastic bakery experience. This brand was birthed at the Wool Factory next to Selvage Brewery. It's a second brand that has had success at the Wool Factory, so much success that has expanded to another location for more space, better foot traffic, and visibility. Of course, Selvage Brewery took over the roastery that was Grit Coffee, the Snowing at Space location on Ivy Road. Coco Rochou is now in the back of Preston Plaza. If you go into Integral Yoga and you park kind of to the side of Integral Yoga, the side back parking lot, you will see this oasis, this patio with fans and nice seating, and you wonder what's going on there. And it's Coco Rochou, a bakery that you got to try. We'll talk about that on today's show. We'll highlight Sean Tubbs' reporting about Tandem Friends School looking to expand from 250 to 400 students. We'll talk UVA baseball and Brian O'Connor hosting his 11th regional in 21 years on the job. Brian O'Connor on the short list for greatest coaches in UVA history, period. The impact of hosting a regional, which starts this Friday, first pitch at 12 o'clock against the UPenn Quakers, is significant. These are the dog days of summer for a small business owner in Charlottesville. The students are gone, and a lot of families are on vacation when the humidity and the heat approaches 100 degrees on the thermostat, on the temperature gauge. Baseball is going to host a regional and bring a lot of out-of-market traffic and keep a lot of fans in market while these games are going on. We'll talk about that on today's program, and we'll give you some data about the Richmond Convention Center. It is often empty A convention center is often the talk of what we need here in Charlottesville. You have a market like the Greater Richmond market that is struggling to fill a convention center. For example, a healthy convention center is used 7 out of every 10 days, local Richmond leaders said. Richmond is populated, its convention center is populated just 3 out of 10 days. 3 out of 10, when a healthy is 7 out of 10. It's 700,000 square feet. It's massive, and it's struggling. We'll talk about that on today's program. Judah, two-shot. You had a 3-day weekend. How was yours?
It was good. Relaxing, with the exception of a little crazy storm. Storm, what do you call it? Trees coming down and power going out, and yeah, it was.
We lost power for, I'd say,
wild.
4 to 5 hours in Keswick.
Oh man.
The lines continue to be above ground, and trees continue to fall on them. Imagine that. We learned nothing from the snowpocalypse of a handful of years ago, where many in the community were without power for nearly a week.
Not to mention the derecho.
Yeah, the derecho. Put the damn lines underground. I know they're working on it. Travis Hackworth in Southwest Virginia will get to your comments. Kelly Jackson will get to your comments. Bill McChesney will get to your comments. Anyway, welcome back. I was here yesterday meeting with Nate Kibler to discuss the new show he will launch on this network next Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. We will be debuting a new show thanks to Nate Kibler. He will offer those details. We're currently building the brand and excited to expand our audience. John Blair, I'll get to your comments in a matter of moments. Sean Tubbs talks about private school expansion. Kelly Jackson highlights that her daughter's going to be going to Tandem Friends. Sean Tubbs asked a very clear-cut question in his community, Charlottesville Community Substack. He says, we should all follow this phenomenon. Keep track of the private schools and the increased enrollment across the Commonwealth. We know this, the Miller School's expanding enrollment. We know Tandem Friends is expanding enrollment. I believe the Field School is another one, expanding enrollment. Private school, there's Lloyd Snook right there. Private school enrollment expanding left and right, but that's a topic for later in the program. Why don't we get to the UVA faculty story? J-Dubs. The professor Richard Schrager and the librarian Sarah New of the UVA Law School have highlighted what they think the impact of upzoning will be on the Charlottesville City 10.2 square mile area. And what they've come, their conclusion in a nutshell, is upzoning is not really going to create price stability. The opportunity to create more dense housing is not going to stabilize prices in Charlottesville.
And I think they noted that a curious fact was that the I don't know if I'm putting this the right way, but the previous zoning before this current round of new rezoning, the zoning before it was changed hadn't been fully utilized.
Oh, 100%.
So it's just another odd fact of Charlottesville life.
Livable Charlottesville, the urbanist lobbying group here in town, immediately jumped on the professor and the librarian. Planning Commissioner Stolzenberg jumped on the professor and the librarian.
I could see it from the other people, but it surprises me coming from Rory Stolzenberg, because these are like facts that they're. I mean, obviously, facts can be disputed, but these people, it doesn't sound like they're out to like lead a narrative. They're trying to understand better what's going on in this area, and
they're just offering their commentary.
Yeah.
Their perspective. No one has a crystal ball. To have, and I respect Commissioner Stolzenberg quite a bit. He's come on the show. Smart guy. Rory, I respect you tremendously. To have an appointed city official jump on a law school professor for offering their commentary, his commentary, I find a bit startling.
Yeah, I do too.
Just put it like that. Ginny, who's watching the program on Twitter, she said homeschooling and hybrid numbers are increasing as well, fellas. Thank you, Ginny Hu, for watching the show. We'll get to that school story in a matter of moments. Look, I put it in a nutshell. I've said it so many times on the show. We were one of the first to say it on this program. Deep Throat was one of the first to say it on this program. John Blair, who's watching the program, was one of the first to say it on this program, one of the first to say it on his social media channels. Upzoning is going to have little to no impact on creating price stability. It's just going to make the dirt more opportunistic and expensive. And when that dirt is more opportunistic and expensive, the investor, the person who purchases the dirt, is going to expect more return on investment. And when they do that, they're just going to charge a higher price.
Yeah.
It's not going to have an impact. We are now 6 months into it. What impact has it had? You had a ranch in the Lewis Mountain neighborhood sell for $1 million because of upzoning. Was it Luke Cole who had the listing? Okay? It's just not going to have an impact, folks. And I think we need to put this story behind us. Another story I would like to see put behind us is this UVA protest. What I'd like to see from the UVA protest is the following. Let's learn from it. Let's never militarize the state police and pepper spray students again. Let's give students a little leeway when it comes to freedom of speech and their right to protest. Let's not stigmatize and enemize the police, make them look like enemies, and let's consider the forest through the trees. Okay? The story today is a nursing student that was paying his way through nursing school by delivering food as a DoorDash subcontractor. This nursing student drives up to the protest in his personal vehicle, delivering food for DoorDash. In the process of delivering the food, he sees a couple of his buddies in the protest and says, "Hey, buddies, what are you doing here?" They're like, "Well, we're protesting what's happening in Palestine and in Gaza." He's like, "Oh, I'll hang out with you, buddies." And he chooses to hang out, this nursing student, DoorDash delivery driver, at the protest, is one of the 27 arrested. He still does not have his no trespassing order lifted. Is he the only one that doesn't have the NTO, the no trespassing order, in effect?
It sounds that way.
It sounds like he's the only one here.
I think he's the only one that it really matters for, because I think with the students, they obviously just graduated.
Well, they just graduated or they have summer break.
Yeah.
So they're leaving for the summer. This particular individual who we're talking about is looking to do an internship in the summer.
An externship.
Externship, thank you. With
He's-
UVA Health.
He's got to do an externship, and he's at PVCC doing the nursing program, and he needs the externship, or he needs some type of internship or externship over the summer. And if he can't get on campus
On grounds.
then he can't do the externship, and by the time the NTO is lifted, he'll have graduated from the PVCC nursing program, and it will no longer be it'll be too late. And it just seems like a shame.
The interesting wrinkle of the story is the man's race is coming into play here.
Yeah.
The Daily Progress is covering this storyline. The Daily Progress has a line, Jason Arnesto, or I think his name is. What's the author? Can you read his name in the byline at the top?
Yep.
I want to make sure he
author
gets some props
is
because he's doing an excellent job.
Jason Armesto.
Okay, spell it for me.
ARMSMESTO.
Armesto. Okay, Jason, well done here. He has a line in this article where he says the Daily Progress is not going to release or announce this man's country of origin for safety fears.
Yeah.
Do you have that line you can read to us?
Let's see.
And it leads us to believe, the casual reader of this story, that this nursing student to be.
Yeah.
What's the line?
He originally hails from a Middle Eastern country, the name of which the Daily Progress is withholding due to concerns its government may seek retribution against his family.
So you would imagine he's from.
I'm not gonna guess.
Okay, Fine.
I mean, there are a lot of Middle Eastern countries.
That's fine. Let's not get. We're not going to.
We don't know why they would want to.
We're not going to speculate here. But the storyline in this article, and it's so unfortunate, is this guy has a no trespassing order that has not been lifted. He's Middle Eastern. So, of course, the conclusion is his no trespassing order is not being lifted because of his Middle Eastern origin.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's the only thing you can really.
The article even says the folks that petition, other folks petition to have their no trespassing order lifted. And one of the individuals quoted in the story even said, when petitioning Longo to have the NTO lifted, this particular individual that did the petition said, I thought what you did was terrible. I thought what you did was absolutely horrible, Tim Longo. And gave reasons why Tim Longo made the bad move, and they still had their NTO lifted.
Yeah.
And this student that cannot go on grounds right now, the Middle Eastern nursing student, is basically saying, if I can't do this work, I cannot be a nurse professionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible situation. And it's a situation you don't want law enforcement in.
Yeah. And this guy's got top grades. He's won PBCC's Distinguished Student Award, highest student honor presented by the school. And for whatever reason, he's continuing to be denied, release from the NTO. And there's a teacher that even offered to...
Listen to this. A law school professor.
Yeah.
A law school professor was so compelled by this story, and you're putting lower thirds on screen, right? A law school professor was so compelled by this story, she wrote to Tim Longo, the university police chief, and said, I will accompany this nursing student to and from his externship and be with him at all times.
I think that was specifically for the
externship,
for the orientation to the externship, and I think at this point in time he's already missed the orientation and been denied entry to the externship, which I'm sure the university could reverse if it chose to, but for whatever reason, this is just, it continues a long line of insanity. Coming out of
insane.
UVA. And you sent me an article over the weekend also talking about some of that insanity. I don't know if you want to get into it today.
We could talk about that one tomorrow. That's on the diversity, equity, inclusion allocation, financial allocation.
Yeah.
It's significantly more than initially anticipated.
Yeah.
Significantly more. Maybe we'll talk about that on tomorrow's program. The insanity that is circulating the University of Virginia in so many different ways continues.
Yeah. I mean, like, if there's something we're missing,
it's unrecognizable.
If there's something we're missing,
and I said that to Judah. I said that to Judah. Are we missing something with this story?
Yeah, like just the odd behavior coming from
leadership.
Yeah, leadership, and I don't know if are they on orders from someone that they can't say no to, or is this just do they fall into a mushroom patch and they're just like a little bit wonky right now?
Is that an allusion to tripping shrooms?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why else they would be
caps or
so
stems.
Strangely. You're asking the wrong person.
What a mess! What a mess. We'll follow that one closely. Jason Armesto, hell of a job with this story. Oh, it was a long read.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to put the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. This is a direct microcosm of inflation. Microcosms of inflation. We talk of the cost of a Big Mac or a Happy Meal. Inflation, we talk about price of gas. Inflation, we talk about groceries. Pack of bacon, gallon of milk, dozen eggs. Inflation, we talk about credit card debt. Highest since in American history. Inflation, we talk about this is the most expensive time in American history to buy a house right now. The most credit card debt in American history right now. Student loan debt at its peak, American history right now. What are the most expensive times in American history to fill your gas tank? Right now. What are the most expensive times to buy groceries? Right now. But we don't look at it often from the other end of the spectrum, and that's the food insecurity end of the spectrum. Put this in perspective for us, Judah. With peak COVID numbers for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, its footprint, you said 1.2 million.
1.6 million.
1.6 million. Thank you for correcting me. Put it in perspective.
I mean, like you said, 1 in 10 people overall living in food insecurity, 1 in 9 children. And that's up from the previous figure of 1 in 12. And I would have thought that, I mean, obviously there's a lot has gone on since the pandemic. And during the pandemic, some people were receiving money from the government, loans, and interest rates were lower, so it was easier to borrow money. And obviously, a lot of that has changed in the last few years. Rates are a lot higher. People have been living with, since the pandemic, a lot of people, I think, burning through whatever reserves they may have had, tapping into credit cards, whether they had them before or had to go out and find them, loans, and it's obviously taking its toll. I mean, ratcheting up. We're going from during the height of the pandemic, 146,000 average guest visits per month, to a peak of 172,000.
Right now.
Yeah.
172,000 people, Blue Ridge Area Food Bank per month. Considerably worse. We're talking, what, 30,000 almost? Worse than COVID.
Yeah.
You're talking over 20% increase. 20% increase, call it. 28? Call it like 20% from the pandemic. 1 in 9 kids, food insecure.
Yeah.
And that's going to worsen before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, and you're in one of the most affluent, wealthy communities and regions in the Commonwealth, and one of the most affluent in the Mid-Atlantic. I want you to think about that. Be grateful for what you have and help hand up, not hand out, hand up for those that need it.
No doubt.
John Blair says this on LinkedIn. It's a good comment. He says, Jerry and Judah, I agree about Cuckoo Rashu and Preston Plaza. A great spot. My wife loves it. But the Tandem Friends news is a bigger question. I wish you or Sean Tubbs could work on this. In the past 4 years, how many total seats have been approved for private school expansion in Albemarle County? He's guessing, but he's guessing here, but he feels like it's 750. Where is this demand coming from? The private school explosion in Albemarle feels like a much bigger story than people acknowledge. 100%. Miller School, Tandem Friends, believe the Field School expanding. Regents is building and opening a new campus. It was over there on Ivy by Christian Aid. Regents. Right. You have a private school boom and bonanza with enrollment happening as we speak. It's a reflection of the demographic, socioeconomic changing. It could be a reflection of frustration with public schools.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm not throwing shade. We had an author on the program last week or the week before, Kurt R. Johnson, talk about what it was like for a year teaching at Charlottesville High School. And he highlighted the daily smell of marijuana in hallways and in classrooms, highlighted brawling, sex, violence, 4-letter words, the N-word, and a lack of support for admins, for teachers.
I don't mind throwing shade. I don't know why anybody would want to leave their kid in the Charlottesville public high school.
I'm going to leave that one alone. Not everyone's resource.
I agree.
We just highlighted the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank.
I know.
And they're expensive. I will say this. The tracking, and this is a great one for Sean. This could be a great one for Jason Armesto. This could be a great one for Reynolds Hutchison, the editor of the Daily Progress. A profile on all the private school expansion and how you tie it to would be maybe permitting, the permit approvals or the permit requests for buildings and infrastructure. For example, Tandem Friends School is looking to jump from 250 to 400 students. 250 to 400. They want to increase enrollment, which would give Tandem flexibility in their future planning. How you perhaps can track the private school enrollment boom or bonanza is the private schools themselves seeking permits for building expansion. And I bet what you would find is it's many of them. Mm-hmm. And then what you have to ask yourself is, does that mean the public schools will see a drop in enrollment? And if the public schools see a drop in enrollment, they will see a drop in funding. And if they see a drop in funding, how will that impact the public schools moving forward? If we become a region or an area or a county that's more private school heavy and less public school enrolled, will we see the public schools lose money? And if they lose money, how will that impact capital improvement projects, retaining quality teachers, improving curriculum? This is a direct cause and effect that should be followed. That's why we wanted to talk this Tandem Friends storyline today. Next headline, if you could put on screen, would be the Richmond Convention Center. How many times have you heard, Jude, as you put that lower third on screen, how many times have you heard folks in this community say Charlottesville needs a convention center? Charlottesville needs a center to attract Fortune 100 and Fortune 50 and Fortune 200 businesses in the middle of the week. We don't need help attracting businesses on the weekend because we have the weddings, the breweries, the hiking, the music, downtown Charlottesville, UVA. People come for the weekends. What we need is to fill the hotel rooms Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And how you do that is a convention center. We hear it all the time in Charlottesville. Charlottesville, Albemarle, they need a convention center where we can go after midweek business. Well, this puts things in perspective for you. The Greater Richmond Convention Center is busy. This is startling right here. Is busy 3 out of every 10 days. The remaining 7, it sits empty. A 700,000 square foot regionally governed complex on North 3rd Street. 7 out of 10 days, this convention center is empty. A healthy convention center is used 7 out of 10 days. Richmond's is 3. If Richmond, that has an airport that attracts more routes, more inbound and outbound routes, has a larger baseline of businesses, big businesses, has perhaps better proximity to roads and interstates and travel, and has more hotels. If this is keeping its convention center busy 3 out of 10 days, would the Charlottesville one beat that? Can it really beat what Richmond's doing performance-wise? And I don't have that answer. I'd love to see a convention center in Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. Huge proponent of Charlottesville. I would love to give local leaders an opportunity to solve the convention center and see if they can keep it full. But I'm just letting you know a comp that's 50 miles from here, Richmond, is busy 3 out of 10 times. And that ain't that busy. Mm-hmm. That's in the Richmond Times-Dispatch today. Next headline, Phil Wendell's sprawling estate. Put that lower third on screen. And how about you flip through the photos? Let us know when the photos are on screen so I can give the baby blue jay outside of the studio is just the toast of Market Street and passerbys right now. Fabulous Esquire, Kathy Albino is looking out the baby blue jay over here, right off Market Street KM View. You got Phil's photos on screens?
Just about. Let's see.
This guy's the owner of ACAC, founder of
There we
World
go.
Strides. This dude's got a house that's listed for $5,200,000 with Jim Faulkner of McLean Faulkner. It is 7 bedrooms, 9.5 baths, 11,605 square feet on 88.86 acres. It's got 3-car garage. It was built in 1991. It's got a swimming pool, a pickleball court, multiple kitchens. The monthly mortgage payment, according to Realtor.com, is estimated at $33,000 a month. This is going to be an all-cash buyer that buys this, not someone who puts 20% down. The taxes on this property per month, just the taxes alone, taxes per year, are $46,207. I mean, it's a beautiful house. It's a brick Georgian. You rotating the pics?
Yep.
This is an estate. He's tried to sell this house off and on for years. Different brokers, different agents, different prices, pulling it on and putting it back on the market. I think it's a beautiful house. Phil Wendell, friend of the program, serial entrepreneur. Good luck with the sale of your house. And Benavar. 87 acres, unbelievable, in the heart of Albemarle. All right, a couple other topics on the show. I would encourage anyone, if you have not tried it, to try Coco Rochou. Judah, I think you would like it as well. It's in the back of Preston Plaza. I think you can get a pastry or two and sit on their back patio and do some reading or the crossword puzzle like you like to do, and you would truly enjoy it.
Nice.
This is the second brand that was birthed at the Wool Factory to have so much success that it needed to move to another location to further spread its wings.
Nice.
Salvage Brewery was the first one. Salvage Brewery birthed at the Wool Factory, now at Ivy Road, in the old Snowing in Space Grit Coffee location, across from the Boar's Head. Coco Rochou birthed at the Wool Factory, now at Preston Plaza. It's pretty awesome. Locally owned and operated. Give it a whirl. I'll talk baseball this Friday, first pitch, UVA against the Penn Quakers in an NCAA regional. Brian O'Connor's been on the job for 21 years. And those 21 years he's hosted. Now he's been a part of more, but he's hosted 11 regionals in 21 years in Charlottesville. Jerry Ratcliffe reports this. There are 300 Division I major college baseball programs. Only 5 of those 300 programs have hosted 11 or more regionals over the past 21 years. 13 for Florida, 13 for Florida State, 12 for LSU, 12 for UNC, and 11 for UVA. I'll give you the number again. 13 Florida, 13 Florida State, 12 LSU, 12 UNC, and 11 UVA. That's hosted regionals. UVA's the top seed. They're 42-15. First pitch, 12 o'clock Friday against Penn, 24-23. Mississippi State at 38-21, and St. John's 37-16-1, also in this regional. There goes David Thomas, one of the partners of Mickey Hamlin right there, always dressed to the nines. Brian O'Connor's on the short list for greatest coaches in Virginia athletic department history, period, bar none. This guy's going to have his name on the ballpark in some capacity. He should probably have it already. He's a national champion. His team is loaded. Offense is their strength this year. We'll see if pitching can take them far in the playoffs. I think we should highlight that Brian O'Connor's impact is not just on the diamond. O'Connor's impact in the dog days of summer when families are traveling and when the students are not in town is an impact felt with the local economy. You see Davenport, Disharoon, it will be packed this entire weekend. He's going to bring fans from St. John's, Mississippi State, and the University of Pennsylvania, and he's going to keep fans who would otherwise travel in town. The businesses on Ivy Road and those near the stadium are going to be the beneficiaries. O'Connor having an impact on the diamond and having an impact on the local economy. And he does it the right way. Brian O'Connor, a good man. Anything you want to add to today's program, Judah Wickhauer? Anything we're missing? Bill McChesney, we appreciate you watching the show. Kelly Jackson says she thinks it's great to have so many options, private school-wise. Her kids have been to most at one time or another, and they all offer great education, but in different ways. They all have good qualities. That's from Kelly Jackson. She highlights the fact that the baseball team is going to have an impact on her business. She owns, I believe, 17 Panera Breads in the Commonwealth. Bill McChesney says hazing at Albemarle and the school board controversy. Charlottesville High School had the riots and the narrative in the book that we covered. He says, of course, the public school enrollment is going to drop because of these things. Travis Hackworth in Southwestern Virginia says the Richmond Convention Center is used 3 out of 10 days. Hotel rooms are lacking, and it's only going to be exacerbated by the potential casino in Petersburg, Virginia, should their referendum pass, which will offer more all-inclusive entertainment, convention space, and lodging in one spot with package deals. Travis Hackworth says the city and surrounding localities spend $11.5 million a year out of the region to pay off the center's bondholders, and that the city pays another $2 million to make up the center's operating deficit. It's possible, perhaps likely, that the convention center is actually a drain on the local economy of Richmond. Great comment from Travis Hackworth right there. Closing thoughts, Judah B. Wickhauer.
The Afton Mountain Renaissance Project is kicking off, and we could soon see the what would you call it? The mess up there. The Afton Mountain property actually start to be developed. I'm excited to find out where that goes.
Phil Delaney's property?
I think so, yeah.
Ginny Who says it's a pain in the you-know-what to park at that Richmond Convention Center.
I'm not surprised.
God, wouldn't that be crazy if, as Travis highlighted, the convention center in Richmond, is it a drain on the local economy? Is it actually a drain? That's a story to follow right there.
Interesting.
That's the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille show. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller, Real Talk with Keith Smith on Wednesday, and a new show launching on the network starring Nate Kibler next Tuesday afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Enjoy your afternoon and so long.